I am so excited to be with you here today to share with you how I'm going to decorate the main tree in our house this year. Now the tree will go up behind me here. This is the room that we gather with our children and our grandchildren over Christmas and open our gifts together. And I often find when we have our friends and family over during the Christmas period that people will come and have a seat on one of the lounges and just relax and have a quiet glass of wine or a cup of coffee and take a moment. It is seen from pretty much everywhere in our home. We do have a very open plan layout for our home, and therefore I like it to have a real wow factor. I'm Deb from the Christmas Card, and I am mad about all things Christmas, and if you are too, I would love it if you would join us here on YouTube or any of our other social media channels. All of our links will be below. We love to share ideas and inspiration on how you might like to decorate your home at Christmas time. Now, the tree that I put up in this room is a very fancy tree. It's a Balsam Hill flip tree, and it was a pretty big investment. I do really love it, and I really hope that one of my children love it because they will be inheriting it one day. It comes together very easily. You roll it in. It's just got one piece that you put on top, and it's pre-lit. So a great tree for a fairly easy install. However, like every tree, it does need to be zhuzhed. And by that, I mean every branch and every needle pine still needs to be shaped and separated to really make it look its best. Now, this is the only very fancy tree I have in my home. The other trees that I put up are budget or mid-range trees. And I've got a few ideas on one of my other videos, which we'll link below, to show you how you can get a high-end look even with a budget tree. So for now, I would love it if you would just sit back and relax and let me share with you how I decorate the main tree in our home this year. This year, I'm using our Nutcracker collection as the inspiration for our main tree. It's got a lovely traditional feel, but with a modern twist with the use of blue alongside the conventional red and green of Christmas. You can see here the gorgeous florals, including flowers, glittery picks, burgundy stems, and the stunning nutcrackers and drums. This is a nutcracker hat, which is actually a novelty headband, but I'm going to use it in my tree. I've also got some ribbons in burgundy, blue and tartan, as well as these beautiful textured flock stars and reindeers, and a huge assortment of baubles in different sizes, colours, shapes and textures. A lot of these are things that I've used in previous years, and then each year I add a few new things to change it up a bit and build up my collection. So with all my items ready to go, let's get started decorating my main lounge room for Christmas. Now, the first thing I always do is I look for opportunities to add a little bit of extra greenery. This tree is quite full, as you would expect, being a fancy tree, but I still think it's nice to have some different variations of greenery. And the other thing that I find the extra stems of greenery help with is they come out past the natural or the normal length of the branches of the tree, and therefore they're a great opportunity to hang a special ornament on. So they kind of extend the branches of the tree. I've got a 7-foot tree here, and generally I will work on one stem per foot if I'm decorating predominantly the front of the tree. The sides of this tree will be seen a little bit, so I will make sure that I've filled it in around the sides, but I don't need to fill in the back because it's up against the wall. So I'll be looking for somewhere between 6 and 8 stems, or I'll do them in sets, so I might have 2 where I'll do 4 and 4, and that way I can sort of balance them out throughout the tree. When I'm putting these extra long pieces in, what I will do is look for a part of the tree that I can actually twist the stem around so that I know that it's got something to brace against. So now it's time to add my tree topper. I love to do a big wow tree topper on this tree. and I'm using the burgundy and blue leaf sequined sprays to put into the top of the tree, and then I'll put my star at the base of it. I've just secured 3 of each colour with a cable tie, so I've got one grouping, just makes it a little bit easier to place it, and I'll feed it down into the centre of the tree. I will use both the needle ties of the tree itself as well as a pipe cleaner to secure it back onto the stem or the pole of the tree. So when I put the star in, or perhaps if I'm using an angel or whatever kind of feature ornament I might be using as part of my tree topper, I like to secure it with the base. I won't use the spring that comes with it. I'll just push that into the tree, and then I'll use a pipe cleaner to secure it back so it's nice and neat and tucked into the tree. So now for one of my favourite parts of decorating my trees, and that's when I start to put the ribbon on. On this tree, I'm going to use this beautiful blue ribbon. On the other side of it is a rose gold champagne coloured glitter. So it doesn't matter which side is showing, it's always going to look gorgeous. And I'm going to pair it with the burgundy ribbon as well that has the rose gold champagne colour on the other side. Now both of these rolls were actually used on our photo shoot when we did our videos and our photo shoot for our website. And as you can see, they roll up really well. You'll get many years out of a good quality wide tree garland like this one. So I'm going to start with a big bow at the top. I'll use both colours in the bow, and then I'm going to bring it down the front of the tree in a couple of sections to give it a very full and luxurious feel to it. So I'm pretty happy with where my bow is sitting at the top of the tree, and now I'm going to start working the ribbon through the rest of the tree. I tend to like to come off to one side, and then at a point where it looped in, I'll come off down to the other side. I will add some smaller ribbons in later, but for now I'm just going to work with this 10 centimetre wide ribbon and incorporate it throughout the tree. So when I put my tree garland into the tree, I use the needle pines to secure it in, and I push it deep into the tree so it gives it that lovely sort of cascading feel. And I don't waste any of the ribbon. It's too lovely to waste. So even if I've only got a little bit left, I'll find a place on the tree and just create a little tail coming down just by making a little gather at the top, finding a place to put it in, and then I'll cut a dovetail, which is just simply taking your ribbon, folding it in half, and then cutting it on the diagonal like that, and then you get this little dovetail, or fishtail it's sometimes called. And I'll use that little piece in the side of the tree, just so I'm taking a little bit of colour and that texture of the velvet around the sides as well. So I'm pretty happy with where I have all of the ribbon on the main part of the tree. I will come back in later with some smaller ribbon once I start putting the smaller ornaments on and filling around the spaces. But for now I'm going to start adding some florals, and I'm going to start with these gorgeous oversized, supersized poinsettias. These are really good for the base of a tree. You know how sometimes, because the tree comes out wide, the base of the tree can be a bit hard to make look full and luxurious. So big florals like these are a great way to fill in that space. We've got these in blue, burgundy, ivory, and a really pretty pink. Obviously on this tree, I'm going to use the blue and burgundy. I'm only going to use 6. I'm going to use 3 burgundy and 3 of the navy, and I'll place them in the bottom part of the tree, as I mentioned, just to fill in that space. With any good quality floral, be sure to shape it. All these petals are individually wired, so all you need to do is sort of pull them out and shape them around. I find florals a really great way to decorate, well, for any occasion, but particularly for Christmas, because they have a really big impact, but they actually store really well. You just fold them up, protect all the prettiness, all the lovely sort of, this one's got the baubles and the sequins in the middle there, and all the glitter tipped leaves. All of that will be protected when you pull it all up, and then you can store them all in a tub. So now it's time for me to add some floral picks and some other florals to the tree. And I do this by using a technique called clustering, and that's where I've chosen 3 different florals, 2 stems and 1 flower, and I'm going to put them together as a group and put them on the tree at the same time. So rather than putting 18 different pieces on, I'm actually putting on 6 groups of 3, and that really helps me distribute the florals evenly on the tree. Now this is a floral pick that I've had for quite a while. It was a couple of seasons ago that we had this one, and unfortunately, no matter how much I try to look after them, some of the glitter has started to come off this particular one, these really cute sort of swirly bits. But I'm not going to waste the whole pick. I am simply going to use some wire cutters, and I'm going to trim those little bits off, and I will still have a beautiful velvet burgundy leaf spray that will still have that, you know, really high-end finish, even without those little twirly bits. And I'm going to combine that with, let's get that last one off. I'm going to combine it with a blue sequin leaf spray, which I just love. It's very luxurious, and also a forest green or bottle green poinsettia. I've actually got 3 poinsettias, and then I've got the same flower in a magnolia, so I'm going to do 3 poinsettias and 3 magnolias with those. When I'm making my clusters, I just take a bit of pipe cleaner and put them together at the back there and twist it around like that, and then I've got one piece that I'm dealing with. So now I've finished with the clusters of florals, I'm going to move on to some of the bigger ornaments that I've got. I've got these beautiful sequin balls. They're 15 centimetres in the navy and the deep red, and I've also got these burgundy swirl baubles, which I've had for quite a few years. They're from an old collection, but these are new to the website this year. Now the way that I hang these baubles, I actually hang them using the string, but I twirl it around the needle pine, so it actually is very short on the needle pine. I don't hang it from the very edge, and I will push these bigger ones back into the tree a bit. I want them to be seen, but I won't have them right on the edges. So to put the nutcrackers on, all I'm going to use is a little bit of pipe cleaner. I've got some white pipe cleaner, so it won't be very obvious next to their white pants. And I'm just going to twist it around their legs, and then I'm going to put one just up here underneath their beard. I'm just going to feed one through, and I'll use those to secure it onto one of the branches of the tree. These ones are polyfoam, so they're going to be really easy to fix. They're not heavy, they won't weigh the tree down, and they're not breakable, which is always good when you've got kids around. So I'm now starting to add the smaller decorations and the baubles, and I'm going to use two different techniques to do this. One of them is clustering, and that's where I've got 3 different baubles, and I've cut the strings off them, and I've used a pipe cleaner and pulled them all together into a little cluster. And I'll just twist the pipe cleaner, and I'll put them all on the tree in one cluster. And it's a bit like how I was putting the florals on. It helps me to just put on a group of ornaments easily, all in one go, and also makes it a lot easier to distribute them evenly throughout the tree, because I'm not putting on 18 or 20 separate little baubles and trying to make sure I get an even distribution. I'm just putting on 6 or 8 clusters of baubles. So that's one technique. The other thing that I'll be doing for some of the other fancier decorations, the finials and the discs that I have, I will be using a technique called grouping. And much the same as clustering, it's just about thinking about putting them on all at the same time in a group, not necessarily tied together in a cluster, but when you find a little space for, let's say, the finial, you then position one of these beautiful onion drops near it, and then one of the little nutcracker. So I'll kind of put those 3 within the same area of the tree, and I'll make 6 little groupings of these on the tree. So now that the tree is all decorated, I just want to clean up around the base. I'll give everything a bit of a vacuum. As part of when I'm vacuuming, I will actually also use my handheld attachment for my vacuum cleaner and give this velvet ribbon a bit of a vacuum. Now I know that sounds a bit extreme, but as I mentioned before, it's got glitter on the back of it, and I do find that, you know, a little bit of it will come off onto the velvet, and I want that really crisp, lush velvet finish to it. So I'll give the ribbon a bit of a vacuum. I'll vacuum around the base. I'll put my tree skirt down, and then my very final, and I absolutely love doing this, I create a bit of a scene at the base of the tree. I'll wrap up some presents that coordinate, or just empty boxes really, that coordinate with the tree, and I will stage a few ornaments. This year I'm going to use these elves. These ones sit, I've got a couple that stand, and others that are sitting on a big round ball. So I'll stage the bottom of the tree, and that will be it. With the tree done, I now want to have a look at how I'm going to decorate the rest of this room. And one of the things I always do is hang a garland on these windows. I just use a base of a pretty plain evergreen garland, and I put a nail on the very top edge of the window, so you can't see it, it's sort of tucked into the frame. I just put 5 nails, one in the middle, one on each end, and one in the center. And then I will use the needle pine of the garland to wrap around the nails, and that holds them in place. And then each year when I take it down, I just take the nails out, and the following year when I come along to do it again, I've already got my holes, and I just chop the nails straight in those holes. So to make sure that I distribute the garland evenly along the window frame, I'll fold the garland in half, I get the center point, and I'll put that in first, and then I'll take the garland out to each end. So just like a Christmas tree, every single piece of the garland will need to be separated and shaped. I'm just pulling all the needle pines out. I want it to sit pretty flat against the window frame, so I will sort of pull all the pieces from the back forward, make sure that they're all separated out. I'm going to run some ribbon, and I'm going to make some big bows for the ends with some finials dropping down. I'll add some florals, and I'll probably add some stems and picks into it so that it's got a bit of interest and coordinates really nicely with the Christmas tree. Fairy lights add a real touch of magic at Christmas time, and so I'm popping some through the garland here. I'll go up and down a couple of times, and because of the green cord you won't even see them, but certainly once I get the ribbons and the finials and all the prettiness on, they will just be that beautiful little twinkle in the background. I always like the garland to coordinate with the tree, so I choose a few elements from the tree and bring it onto the garland, and then just have a few other things that are a bit unique to the garland itself. I've chosen this beautiful velvet leaf garland that I'll lay down on top of the greenery. I'll then bring some glitter, champagne glitter ribbon through it, and then I've made a couple of bows for each end that have the champagne and the burgundy and the blue in it. I've got a big bow for the centre of it, which will complement the bow that's on the tree, as well as some finial drops and a couple of deep blue magnolias. So let's put that all on the garland and step back and have a look at it. It's always a good idea when you're trying to evenly space a garland to find the centre point of it and put that where you want the centre to be, and then take it out from there. Even with these velvet leaf garlands, it just gives me the opportunity to kind of spread all the leaves out really evenly. And whenever you've finished, it's always a good time to stand back and have a look at it from a bit of a distance. When you're up close to something, you can't really see the whole layout in one view. So standing back, I can see that these finials on this side over here are a bit lower than the ones on the other side. So I can just go up and just give them a bit of adjustment by pushing the pine needles up a little bit, and then seeing if they look a little bit more balanced, and just try and get that symmetry right. Whatever I do on one side of the tree, I do on the other. It takes me a little while to do the first side, but then the second side comes together pretty quickly. So with the tree and the garlands done, I'm now going to do a big vacuum. There's glitter and sequins everywhere, but that's fine, it's Christmas. And now I'll start swapping out all my cushions. I put my cushions into space bags each year to minimise the room they take up in my storage area. So I like to give them a bit of a steam, and that sort of helps get all the creases out. I'll bring in some beautiful glass trees and some nutcrackers and some other decor that I've selected for the living area. Sometimes it takes a little while to get that, get everything quite right where you want it. Hello, Harley. You want to come say hello? Come on. Oh, she's being camera shy. Here she is. Say hi. Mwah. So once I've got everything in place, I'll come back and show you how it all looks. So this is an overview of the whole space now, all finished. I've put my pillows out, created my little scene underneath the tree there. Popped a few other large decorations around. I always like to include these beautiful pair of deer that I've got. Made a little neckerchief with them with a bit of velvet ribbon. Incorporated some beautiful old vases that I've got with some of these more modern burgundy glass trees, and that was a wreath that I made last year. I've also included the free poster print download as part of the decorating in this room. This is the Nutcracker collection, and you can get that from our website. Well, that's it. Our Nutcracker Christmas collection has been brought to life here in our main living room that I am really looking forward to enjoying with our family this year. I think it's a very sophisticated collection, but at the same time, when you combine it with a few of the more playful elements like the elves and the rocking horses and the nutcrackers, etc., it still really is family friendly. I hope you've really enjoyed what I've shown you and maybe got a few ideas for yourself as to what you'd like to do in your own home. Be sure that you connect with us on your favourite social media channel, and make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube, because we'd love to share with you all the fun that we have when we are creating, decorating and celebrating this most wonderful time of the year. Bye for now.